And so Biden has a terrible debate. He's sick, he's traveled the world, he's tired, whatever. Has a terrible debate, okay? Now, lots of people have terrible debates, okay? Trump had a terrible debate against Harris, right? Reagan had a terrible debate, Obama had a terrible debate. Lots of people have terrible debates. Usually, the party doesn't lose its mind. But that's what happened here. It melted down.
Longtime Biden advisor Mike Donilon seems to disagree with the Democratic Party pushing Biden out of the 2024 presidential race. He just kind of chalks it up to Biden having a bad debate, even in this late date, even after Donald Trump won the election. He's still delusional about this. He even stated that Joe Biden should have stayed in the race and would have beaten Donald Trump. I need the magical thinking to end, okay, with the Democratic Party. This is insane. So let's go through Donilon's argument in just a moment. But before we do, Cenk,
Yeah, so I want to give you the distinction between Obama's terrible debate, which he did. His first debate against Romney was awful, and my reaction to it, versus Biden's awful debate and my reaction to it. Because I think it's really telling, and I think that Donilon, I don't know if he intends to lie to you, but he is lying in comparing those two things because it's terribly misleading. We'll get to that in a sec.
So he claims that Biden wasn't doing so bad in the polling. So let's hear his statement there and then we'll respond to it.
You actually look at the polling, okay? If you ask people about this period of time, what they'll tell you is Biden was losing in the polls, he was gonna lose. And by the way, that was like the conventional wisdom from the pollsters. Like all the pollsters, his, as well as everyone else, he's gonna lose. Now, they were saying this in a margin of error race. I have never seen a situation where in the summer of a general election, in a race where you're down 3 points nationally and maybe 5 points in Pennsylvania, that people say, it's over.
So we've played the following clip several times. We're gonna have to play it again in response to what he just said.
Then we find out when the Biden campaign becomes the Harris campaign that the Biden campaign's own internal polling at the time when they were telling us he was the strongest candidate showed that Donald Trump was gonna win 400 electoral votes.
I am sick of being lied to by members of the Democratic Party. It happens all the time. Either they deny the negative impacts of some of the policies they've implemented, that certainly happens on a local state level, or they lie in regard to how well they're performing in the polls when it comes to presidential elections or federal, congressional candidates. I'm sick of the gaslighting. I'm sick of the lies. It is disgusting that they keep engaging in this.
Yeah, so let me do what I hope is a sophisticated disproving of Donilon's points. And I don't know if he's purposely lying or if he's delusional. Probably delusional because and people think, well, these guys are at the very top. And so that's why this election was such a Wizard of Oz moment where you peel back the curtain and you realize, oh, the wizard doesn't know anything. All of my lifetime, people on TV, people in politics, etc., people in power have told us, oh, these guys in politics at the very top, both Republicans and Democrats, they're amazing. You guys wouldn't understand. They're so smart and brilliant and they have all this political strategy, etc. Nonsense. They're in their little bubble and they believe fantastical things that make no sense at all. So let's discuss the Obama debate performance versus Biden. So the thing that Donilon is leaving out is context. So Obama had a weirdly terrible debate against Mitt Romney in his first debate. Everybody was shocked by it. I was shocked by it because Obama's so eloquent, so smart, and he just fumbled the hell out of that debate in a way that was puzzling. So did I then give up on him or say we got to get him out of the race, etc.? No, I came out, and this is on tape, and said, no, I guarantee he wins this election anyway. I'm not at all concerned. Why? Okay, let me give you the contrast first and I'll tell you why. Whereas Biden comes out, has the most disastrous debate I've ever seen, that anybody's ever seen, because it's not making sense. It's not that he's doing poor debating. He's talking about how we killed Medicare and he's proud of it because he has dementia. So after that, I said, before that debate and certainly after that debate, he's gotta go Because the context is not a bad debate. The context is a guy who was clearly senile, and we all could see that he was senile. If you leave out that context, what are you doing, Donilon? Because that's not just delusion. I mean, you're lying to people if you don't say, oh, right, but Obama otherwise had a huge lead, et cetera. So let's get to the factors of why that was so different. So you don't just look at the poll. He says, oh, we were only down by 3 nationally and only down by 5 in Pennsylvania. If you don't know anything about politics, that might seem like it was close. But wait, you know the Democrat has to win by about 4 to 5 points nationally in order to win the Electoral College. Joe Biden won by 4.5 points last time around and barely squeaked out an Electoral College victory. So you're leaving that part out on purpose. So if you're down by 3 nationally, that means you're down by a gigantic 8 points nationally. And being down by 5 in Pennsylvania is a disaster. We must win Pennsylvania. Okay, then another factor, how much time is left in the race? Third factor, does the person have the capacity for a comeback? And Obama clearly did, and he didn't need to come back because Obama was leading going into that first debate, and the debates don't matter that much unless one of the candidates is senile and clearly has dementia. And then how are their approval ratings? Obama's approval rating was very high at the time, not very high. By that point, it was actually just okay high, but better than Romney's, right? Biden's approval ratings was in the mid-30s.
Yep.
No chance of recovery. Everyone in politics knows if you're in the 40s as an incumbent, you're toast. If you're in the 30s, it's nearly impossible to recover. Donilon, do you not know that? If you don't know that, you should never work in politics again. If you do know that, why are you saying things that are obviously massively misleading to that audience as if Joe Biden could have won? And then finally, and there's so many other factors, but you look at their approval ratings on the economy, which is always the top issue in elections, and there Biden was in disastrous shape. In some polls, he dropped into the 20s on the economy. No chance of winning at all. But Donilon comes out here and pretends like, oh, we just stuck with the guy who has dementia. We would have won and we would have been fine for the next 4 years. I mean, they would have had to use the 25th Amendment within 6 months. So there's these, because it's not just that he's wrong or just in a bubble or just misleading you.
He's lying.
He doesn't mind that we would have handed the country to a person he knows has dementia.
100%, 100%. He is a longtime Biden advisor, very close to Biden. Now, do I believe that he had no idea about the internal polling? I don't believe it, but you know what? I can buy it. But you wanna know what I don't believe at all, and I never will? That he didn't know about Biden's cognitive decline as Biden's closest advisor.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
So guys, here's how you know, again, there's a million data points here, but one that's definitive. His closest advisors pulled him from the Super Bowl interview. The Super Bowl interview, easiest one, reaches the most amount of people. And that's when Axelrod and Carville flipped out. And by the way, all the smart folks who cover politics, we might agree and disagree in different parts, but Ezra Klein, Nate Silver, everyone, once they didn't do the Super Bowl interview, that understands politics was like, okay, they think he's toast. They think his mind is gone and cannot do the simplest and most positive interview. That means he can't win. If you can't do the simplest interview, then you can't win. And Donilon knows that because presumably he was among the people who said, oh my God, don't put Joe Biden on TV. If we put our candidate on TV, we will lose. Well, how are you gonna do that without the candidate going on TV? And they make the mistake of putting him on TV once for the debate, and his brain melts out of his ears.
Yeah, it was a disaster.
To looking at that debate and saying he doesn't have cognitive decline, you either have to be like so delusional that you're steps away from a mental asylum. And yes, unfortunately, big chunks of the Democratic establishment are in that category, or you're just a gigantic liar. This revisionist history that Biden should have been the candidate. Insanity, all in service of the establishment. Don't ever go in a direction that might win like populism. Yeah, I've heard it a billion times. But I'm sure your donors are thrilled, right? Because now they're Trump's donors, so it's all good. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.